Hey everyone, welcome to the show tonight. We are going to be talking about the second chakra. And yeah, that's the sexy one, folks. So it's getting it's getting real. I'm Dr. Asatar Bear. This is my
It's not
co-teacher.
the only sexy chakra.
They're all very sexy.
They're all very
That's the truth.
sexy. Oh God, we're
There's nothing
starting off
sexier than the truth, right? I mean, that's
just the shame has already begun.
oh my God.
The shame. Oh God.
We want these energy centers of our body to be
Um,
open, to be functional, it's like we think of them as centers of light. So we want
mhm,
that light to shine and have a pure expression, right? And
mhm,
we were just talking about this earlier, right? One of the things that blocks our second chakra, this is a center of pleasure and abundance and creativity and flow. And one of the things that really blocks it is shame.
Yep. Yep. It's one of the it's one of those nasty little tricksters that keeps you from being the co-creator of your own life.
I think that's one of the ones we inherit from our culture, though. I mean, like we have a
Yeah,
culture that kind of shames us around our sexuality and around
yeah.
pleasure, where
I mean,
we're
at the same time, it totally exploits our sexuality and our pleasure constantly.
very
It's like
true, right?
thrown in our face all the freaking time. And it's
Right.
like, if you're not the type of person that sex means everything to you, we're gonna throw it in your face constantly, so you always think about
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. Anyway,
I mean, but see, that's a good example of like a distortion, right? Of
yeah,
taking that energy, which is, or it can be beautiful and pure, and then distorting it, by adding greed and manipulation to the mix, right? Like
yeah,
using it to sell us things and.
yeah, yeah. Or to like make us not feel worthy, things like that.
Yeah,
Um,
right,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely need the chakra energy work right now and specifically because it has to do with enjoyment and it has to do with our ability to feel like life is abundant and our ability to like enjoy the abundance of life living through us and being created through us.
yeah,
And I would say I think of myself as a happy person. Um, in general, I think I'm pretty well balanced. I have all the emotions. Like, um, but in general, like, I would say, like, I experience a lot of levity in my life, in my heart. Um, but I think that happiness is a different thing than, like, seeing the world as abundant and, like, seeing the potential of my future, like, always as abundant. Like,
right.
I don't know, maybe it's the culture, maybe it's the factors happening in my life, but it's like sometimes it feels like things are bleak or um I shouldn't wish too big or something like that, right? Like
Yeah,
these kind of energies. And it's like I in those moments I'm really forgetting that life is abundance and
mm,
that the universe and the earth are both full of abundance all the time. And so I'm almost limiting myself too much. Do you know what I mean? And I think that that's like a total fear response, like a guarded response and all of that. And I think it's all like having to do with this chakra that we're working on tonight.
right.
So in any case, this is what I'm hoping for to bring to the table tonight is like reconnecting in with the universal abundance and like bringing it home, bringing
Yeah.
that understanding home because it's easy to get blocked. It's easy to feel very limited.
Well, that's beautifully said. Yeah. So, for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, Leah and I teach meditation. We teach heart rhythm meditation. This is a method of meditation that comes out of Sufism, Sufi tradition, in the lineage of Hazrat Inayat Khan. And Sufis approach this maybe a little bit differently than other spiritual traditions. A lot of times when we talk about meditation and spirituality in general, there's other blockages around sex and sexuality and around this center, right? Because a lot of
Yeah.
times meditation is seen as the path of asceticism, celibacy, all of these things, right? There's a long tradition of, you know, meditators, basically uh, not having sex at all, right? So a lot
Yeah.
of times people say it's, oh, well, it's not spiritual or something, right? And so, I think there's a very different view of that in Sufism, even though Sufism also has its kind of ascetic sub tradition too. But I see that basically Sufism is about really being a fully human being, and every aspect of life is seen as spiritual. There isn't anything that isn't spiritual, right? But a lot of times it's covered up. A lot of times it's distorted. A lot of times we don't recognize it as such. Um, and so
Yeah.
pleasure, creativity, sex, this is like, a very important part of life, right? We want to connect that to our energetic body and to our spirit. And, that's like kind of what I see as the work of opening and purifying this chakra.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully said. Um, yeah, it's true. I forget that it's like so acquainted with piety and with being pious, you know.
Right.
I don't think I'm pious, but I am compared to a lot of people, if I'm being honest. um but in general, like, I often forget about that, but then, like, yeah, it's just that's not incorporating the whole human being, it's not incorporating the whole human life, and
Right.
I'm all about embodiment, and I'm all about, like, being able to experience the full potential of my human experience, and I'm not trying to negate any part of that, and I'm not trying to, like, say that an entire part of myself does not exist and ignore it. I think that
Yeah.
that's really harsh on yourself. I mean, I'm sure some people have a really good reason though that they don't want that, but in general, like union, having being able to have love and union between two people is a beautiful thing, and
Yeah.
it's like one of the few times that sometimes people will experience more spiritual states like without meditating.
Right. That's true. Right. That's
Yeah.
true. Um,
Yeah.
we don't, we talk about this experience of unity, as being one of our states of consciousness. And, what one of the purposes of meditation is to explore those states and to be able to, work with them and to attain different states. And, I think it's the case for a lot of people, right? There's an incredible state of consciousness that happens sometimes, during
Mhm.
sex. So,
Mhm.
we want to acknowledge that, and also, like, I hope nobody thinks we're pressuring anybody to like do any particular thing, or whatever, right? Like, it's not about that, we're
No, you do what you do in your bedroom. We don't care.
yeah,
We don't
right.
care.
We're not saying
We
do or
don't
not
want to.
do. We're
We don't want to know.
yeah.
But but, but
We should
no,
also
like
talk
I
about the
what?
the chakras in terms of how they relate to one another, right? Like last week we talked about the first
Mhm.
chakra, the root chakra, and next week we'll talk about the third chakra, which is the solar plexus, the center of willpower. So
Mhm.
sometimes we talk about the first three chakras. The first chakra is about your seat in the world and your sense of place. And the second chakra is about creativity. It's about pleasure, and the third
Mhm.
chakra is about power, willpower, one of our fundamental powers. So these three chakras are really important to develop in terms of like being able to live in this world.
Yeah.
So we want to just recognize that, and that all experiences in life build our energetic body. It's not just meditation, right? Like meditation's a tool. Meditation gives you know, a certain kind of experience, right? But like that's not all that every experience in life builds our understanding, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And they're all part of our body. They're all part of one whole. So we're going through different parts of ourselves, but they're like all function together.
Right.
Um,
Right.
yeah, and so like um anyway, if you're we also Tara and I were talking about this a little bit before class, was just like how if there's something going on with one of the chakras, in particular, um sometimes working with other chakras is what will help that chakra to move.
Yeah.
And so we're hoping like as you go through the weeks that, if this wasn't, you know, if it's something that doesn't get covered with the chakra that you're having particular any kind of um, imbalances with, then as we go, you might be surprised how they all link up with each other.
Right. Look,
Anyway,
we have a comment here
my
from our
first
dear
Sufi
friend.
girlfriend, first Sufi girlfriend told me that they were called the sexy Sufis in '78. Nice, AQ coming
Night.
in, coming, coming in with the Sufi,
A history lesson.
the history lesson. History lesson, yes, exactly. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I feel like we should meditate. So
Let's do it.
let's just meditate. So okay. So sorry that I'm having a bit of a cold, so I'm a little bit off today. But we're all in this together. So go ahead and close your eyes or and assume the position. I'm sorry. So I, anyway, go into your meditative posture. So either sitting in a chair with knees lower than hips or sitting on the ground, knees lower than hips, and or laying down if you really like. And I do recommend the spine upright because you're going to get more energy. But if you're in a place of healing, then laying down can be nice because it's a very healing posture. And the first thing that happens when you close your eyes potentially is you're going to feel all the stuff that's going on inside. And you want to meet everything that's happening inside with that full deep breathing in and complete breathing out. And keep working with that just by itself. Keep working with building your full breath. You want to make sure that you're breathing into your low abdomen. It's low and slow. The tendency is to feel like you are breathing deeply, but you're breathing into your chest and not your lower abdomen. And so, really try to breathe into the lower belly, the lower abdomen. And then as you exhale, most of the exhalation is going to be natural, but we hold a lot of stagnant air in our lungs all the time, just like we hold stagnant creativity and creative energy in our body all the time, right? And so we want to get that full expression out with the end of the exhalation, really getting all that stagnation of your creative self out, full of expression, full of your essence of life itself. You are creating a unique expression of life, just being who you are. And that expression of your unique atmosphere comes already, even without all the doing, all the things that we want to create. You are already expressing your own unique existence, your own creation of self, and having your unique atmosphere. So let yourself feel that. Let yourself feel that you are part of this world, that you are very much a vibrational, resonant field that is completely unique and will never be the same, never exist in the same way again. Let yourself live. Let yourself feel yourself live. And just continue to deepen your breath. Continue to focus on having that fullness of breath, that fullness of life moving through you. Already in the fullness of your breath, you're experiencing the abundance of life by saying, I'm taking life fully in, and I'm expressing my unique self fully out. Because life is living through you, not just in you, not just around you, but through you. And life wants to live. Life wants to create. Life wants to see itself in a trillion different images and myriads. Like life wants to know all the different facets of its own being. So, do you want to allow the energy of life to live through you? Embracing that, if you do, which I encourage you to, if you do, embracing that with the fullness of your breath. And then let's start to tune up more and more deeply with our sacral center. So, first, find your heart center to anchor you into your heart center. So, deep, full breathing, feeling your heart center, feeling the center of yourself, and listening in for your inner heartbeat, for the actual physical heartbeat, listening in for that as you breathe. And then almost musically intuit or very proactively, masterfully start to breathe in rhythm with your own heartbeat. So allow your heartbeat to be your metronome of life moving through you, life living through you on your breath. So as you inhale and as you exhale, feel your inhale and exhale become harmonic like music. But see if you can use the very core of your being to set that rhythm. So either intuitively, musically, or masterfully, using each heartbeat as your drum, as your metronome for life moving through and through and through you. Keep focusing this way. Keep focusing on your heart, or start to bring your conscious awareness into your sacral chakra. So I'm going to help us go deeper into our body with the water breath. So to help you go into the depths of your being, and encourage you to do a technique called the water breath. So you inhale through your nose, deep full belly breathing, and then as you exhale out of your mouth. You're still completing that exhalation, and you're still gonna create that harmonic breathing in and harmonic breathing out. But inhaling through your nose and exhaling out of your mouth. And you may find, especially on the exhalation, that you can follow the energy of your breath down your body and all the way toward your sacral center. And whatever your relationship is with creativity, with your own sexuality, whatever your relationship is with those things, I want to encourage you to have full self-acceptance of whatever you find, because you're already doing so much just by feeling your own being, by caring about yourself enough to actually be present. You're already doing so much by just doing that. And so, whatever you find, I want to encourage you to have that full self acceptance. Full of acceptance of what's real for you, what's true for you, in relationship to this part of you at this time. And you're just looking very somatically, looking into your own body to try to pick up what are the emotions that are residing in your sacral center. What are the feelings that reside there? More of like the deeper subconscious self. Are you feeling like you have access to abundance? Are you feeling like you have access to your own creative energies? Do you feel like you want to create in your life? And so, even though your mind might have those answers, or it might feel more like a mental game of trying to figure that out, I want you to try to check in with your actual body, with your actual center, your actual chakra. And as you're breathing into this center, like Asatar said, it's like you're bringing more and more light there. You're bringing more and more consciousness there. And as you bring that light and that consciousness there, it's full of acceptance of exactly who you are and your unique expression of yourself. Do you allow yourself to feel joy, to enjoy? Do you allow yourself to feel joy and bring joy deep into your own being? Just breathe with that question while you breathe with this part of yourself, this part of your being. Do I allow myself to embody joy do I allow myself to enjoy? And then maybe if that answer was somewhat hesitant or blocked or a no, maybe inviting joy back into your body. So maybe allowing ourselves to open back up to enjoyment, to allow joy in. Allow that even just the idea, like I can bring more joy into my body, I can bring more joy into myself. I can allow myself to feel the satisfaction of enjoyment, the satisfaction of loving life, right? Welcoming that energies back into your life, welcoming happiness, playfulness back into the depths of your own body, your own being, welcoming it with every breath that you take. And just for the last few moments in this meditation, I want us to open up to more of the universal life. So as you do the water breath, inhaling through your nose and exhaling out of your mouth, I'd like you to start to try to fathom the extraordinary abundance of the universal life. You cannot, we cannot imagine how much energy exists. It's just extraordinarily unfathomable. Like we cannot even understand even an ounce of it. But if we open up to even an ounce of it, we'll be flooded. And so let's try. Let's try to open up to it. So when we inhale, inhaling through your nose and imagining your breath, your consciousness moving up your body and all the way, you're still centered, you still feel your heart, you're still in your body, but you open your crown and you feel the consciousness of your crown expand into the stars, into the universe itself. And you're trying, when you do that, on that inhale, it's like you're trying to perceive even the slightest ounce of how extraordinarily abundant the universal energy is. And then as you exhale, open your muscles, open your body to the flow of life, riding on the stream of your breath, to move over and deeply through you. So all the way through to your spine, all the way through to the depths of your being, all the way through to your sacral center. Taking a few more rounds like that. Really try to touch onto this conscious awareness, this conscious connection to the unfathomable, like, abundance of life itself. And then as you exhale, open your whole body up to feeling it, feeling it renew you, feeling it recreate any parts of you that you'd like. And perhaps even going to the parts of you that need it the most, the parts of you that are stuck in some form of darkness or that have forgotten all about the light, all about the love. Don't forget to take another sip. Don't forget to go right back and touch onto the universal life again. Because it's never ending. Because the universal life will never end, and we have to remember to keep drinking from its cup. So take one more drink in. All right. And just notice if you feel any different than you did at the beginning of your meditation. And thank yourself for sitting, and thank yourself for meditating. Move your body and open your eyes.
Nice meditation there.
Thank you.
I liked what you said about acceptance, and
Mm,
that feels really important, because a lot of times, we don't accept, right? Maybe we don't feel worthy to just feel that joy, to feel that pleasure. Maybe it touches on pain, it often does, right?
mm,
Um, it's not just bad experiences that can touch on your pain, it's good ones too,
mhm.
it's pleasure
Yeah,
too, especially if you feel like you don't deserve it, and how
yeah, that's a big
wonderful,
thing.
yeah, how wonderful it is to just open yourself to that and just
Mm.
accept it. It's a part of life, and it's not even about whether you deserve it or not, right? It's it just
Yeah,
is.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got
because
it.
we cut ourselves off from a lot of goodness. This is totally common. We do that all the time because we think we're
Yeah,
not worthy of it.
yeah. We got a
Mm.
comment from our friend Andrew who says, "Hey guys, I just got into crystal beads. Do you know how this fits into chakras? P.S. I want to
Mm.
donate." Well, let's deal with the last one first. Go to our our Patreon page, and thank you so much. Um,
Mhm. Look at it's
crystal,
working already. You call in the
the
abundance and
abundance, right?
the abundance shows up. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
Could you,
so crystal beads,
yeah. Uh, did you want to address that one, Leah?
I love them. They're great.
They give me
I
pleasure, right?
they give me a lot of pleasure. Um, Jesus, I there's all this stuff running through my head. Anyway, I have a bunch of beads because I'm in Tucson and there's the gem show here every year. And so I have like a ton of these mala beads, and I just think they're amazing. And I totally believe that crystals have an effect. And like, I don't understand why or how. I just feel like I always can feel the difference, like when I'm holding one in my hand or not. It's like I can
Mm,
actually feel its resonance field
yeah,
helping me organize in the way that it does. So I love it.
yeah. I mean, a crystal is a very special organization of matter, right? It's a very orderly lattice pattern, on a molecular level, and um,
Mm.
that's that. I think that organization of matter has an energetic effect, and
Oh
um,
yeah.
sensitive people can feel that, and I think it's one of these things. You it's like meditation. You try it out and you see what you experience with it, right? Like, do you have to
Yeah.
have them or not have them or no, right? Like, I mean, but if it enhances and if you feel something, then you know, do it, right?
Yeah.
I love crystals too. I mean, I have. I mean, it's sort of this new agey trope, right? But like, there's something there to it, I mean,
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
yeah. So sometimes my
I
my
sleep
friends will,
sleep with crystals every
yeah, right.
night. So I can't
Oh
believe
my
you're
God,
saying
it's like a
that.
new age confessional, right? You guys, I sleep with
I
crystals.
feel like I've said way too much already tonight. But like I literally like have all these crystals in my bed and like I'll just like when I'm falling asleep, I'll just like put them on my body and like meditate and fall asleep. I
There we
love it.
go.
It's
There
great.
we go.
So there now you know my secrets. Some of my secrets.
Glad this was helpful.
Um,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
I wanted to say something too about I was really feeling this during the meditation about how there's these different aspects, right? Because the breath is giving and receiving, we're exchanging energy, right? And so it makes me think about, first of all, connecting the energy of the sexual center to your heart, right? Because a lot of
Mhm.
times we don't. A lot of times we're disconnected. A
Yeah.
lot of times we think of, I mean, I don't know if this is just men or if it's our culture or whatever, right? Like to separate
Mhm.
sex from meaning, from love, from deep
Yeah.
emotion, right? In a way,
Yeah.
like we're sort of taught to do that, or maybe it's just men, or I don't know, but like, that there's a lot of that. There's too much atomization of ourselves. There's too much disconnection. We need to bring everything back to our hearts, right? So I think there's
Mhm.
an aspect of this practice. I'll do this in my meditation of just
Mhm.
breathing in through your second chakra. And by the way, the location of this is right where you think it is. Okay, it's the genitals, right? That is the location of the second chakra. So we're talking about
Yeah.
breathing in through this area and then up to your heart, right? So that you feel like you're enveloped in this energy field that is your heart, right? The heart is the master chakra.
Mhm.
That's how Sufis see it, right? So and then and breathing in is receiving energy, right? So here we're opening to that pleasure,
Mm.
and experiencing that pleasure, that enjoyment, which I think you really brought out very beautifully in your meditation. And then there's the other exhalation side, is like expression, creativity, that flow. And here we're breathing out through that feeling. There's a flow of energy that comes out, right? That is like, what are we creating? What are we birthing into the world? And I mean that like on
Mm.
every level, right? Like, not so this is not just about the
Yeah.
literal, right? But
Yeah.
it's about um, what is the energy that is flowing from us in and creating abundance in the world, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's one way we can sort of tune into that, right? Using the breath and tuning the breath to the energies.
Yeah. And also, Tara, honestly, like sometimes I feel like because I've had my heart broken multiple times, that it's almost like the enjoyment of love is can become feel like it's distant or something like that. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like now, like because I've been through heartbreaks, it's almost like I almost forget like when I fall in love again that it'll be enjoyable.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's like because it's so associated now with like this painful experience, you know.
Mm,
And I just think that's so interesting because it's like this that's a different direction of connecting the heart back in with the pleasure or back in with the enjoyment of
yeah,
like, no, you're allowed to have the enjoyment of the experience. It doesn't have to be like this whole guarded thing where it's just like, oh God, I've fallen in love, call the army in. You know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? Like this whole protective, like guarded experience, like instead of this enjoyable thing that's beautiful and amazing of
yeah.
falling in love with someone.
No.
Like the other end of the spectrum, you know, like the person that has the, you know, anyway, so.
Okay. That's
Mm,
very true. That's very true. You know, it's uh,
mm,
was a there's a part where we're working on just opening ourselves, you know, and then there's a part where we're expressing, you know, and both of those are important. And you know, I think it's important to acknowledge that there's a lot of woundedness in this place in almost all of us, you know, and like when it comes to like opening to pleasure or enjoyment, it's a lot of times it's shame, right? A lot of times
yeah,
it's that we've been shamed, you know, that our desires have been shamed, um, that we're, oh, it's supposed to be like this, right? And you know, our culture, Western civilization,
right,
has a lot of messages about how sex is supposed to be and how it's not supposed to be, and even just how pleasure is supposed to be and not supposed to be, right? What that's supposed to
right.
look like, and it's like, wow, you know, what if you don't quite fit into, you know, that box? And, you know,
Yeah.
um,
Or the enjoyment of love needs to look like, you know, having the
right,
perfect marriage that lasts your entire life or,
yeah,
you know, whatever. Like the only way to enjoy love would be that way or something
yeah,
like that. You know?
exactly. That's a great example, all right? I mean, that's a
Yeah.
very deep message in you know, in Western thought, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, and also that there's shame on the other side, on the expression side, right? Like when you create, when you express yourself, there's a moment of vulnerability there, you know. And how
Mhm.
often have we been judged or mocked or, you know, for the things that we've created? And it, you know, many of us carry wounds there, you know, and that might come up, you know, when you're, well, let's be honest, it will come up when you're you know, when you're meditating, right? That might
Right.
not come up every time, but you know, it's there, and if it's there, you explore it, and you know, you work
Yeah.
through it. So, you know,
Yeah.
and of course any kind of sexual violence, right? I mean, like that's another fact of life, right? That obviously that's going to cause a wound.
Mhm.
That's not the only way that one can be wounded in this chakra, but like, you know, it's
Mhm.
definitely a way. And you
Yeah.
know, many people have experienced that, and you know, that is like,
Yeah.
that's a trauma, that's a wound to work through.
Yeah, and that's why I think that the messaging of self-acceptance, like so whatever your story is, you know, like whatever your relationship to this whole area is, to have that acceptance of self and that love of self so that the shame or the
Yeah,
guilt like doesn't have reign anymore there. And regardless of what we have all been through, you know, returning to joy, you know, returning to our ability to feel joy and connect with joy. So, again, like, even though there might be wounds, and there most likely are because we all experience things, like, don't make that the reason that you can't reconnect to joy. Like, you know what
mm,
I mean? It's like
yeah,
reconnecting in with that joy because life itself, I mean, like, I don't know what you experience, but connecting in just for a moment with the universal life itself is just so it's so much energy and like don't we cut ourselves off from that. And so like this idea of like regardless of what I've been through, to not cut ourselves off from that abundance that's available to us at any given moment.
yeah. Well
So,
said. Well said.
yeah,
Well, let's do our final meditation, and we'll
yeah,
go into this a bit more. So, assume your meditation posture. We're going to begin by just tuning into the breath. We can learn a lot from about where we're at by just observing the breath, and this is often where we begin. But with heart rhythm meditation, we want to do more. We want to perfect the breath. What a thought that you could perfect the breath. Because we're looking for a very particular state, a state where we are very energized and yet very relaxed. It's a play of contradictions where we feel utterly filled with energy in our whole being, and yet we're still. We have our eyes closed. We turn the energy within. We experience the energy within. Usually when we experience energy, we express it right there and then. You feel like dancing, you start dancing. You feel happy, you laugh. You feel sad, you cry, right? Usually the boundary between feeling the energy and expressing it is very thin. So what does it mean to perfect the breath? We mean to make the breath deep, slow, rhythmic, heart-centered, and full. And this is the basic method of heart rhythm meditation. I'm going to go through it kind of quickly, and maybe you won't master all of it. You probably won't. It's a study that takes some time. It's difficult what I'm asking you to do here. But just keep in mind, any part of it that you can do is good, will bring you benefit. So deep means we're breathing down deep in the belly, expanding the belly as we inhale, contracting the belly as we exhale. A lot of times we keep our breath up high in the chest. When we breathe down in the belly, our energy sinks more deeply into our body. And we like to make the breath slow, slow down our rhythm, bringing relaxation, easing the stress and anxieties that are often swirling around in us. The way you make your breath slower is you just breathe more. Breathe out more than you normally do, and then breathe in more than you normally do, so that your breath cycle takes a longer amount of time. By breathing slower, you're breathing fewer breaths per minute. And your unconscious takes a cue from this. This is one of the primary ways we have of keeping time in ourselves. So you're sending a message to your body and your mind. Slow down. And this brings openness, it brings relaxation. Now we'd also like to make the breath rhythmic so that the inhalation and the exhalation are the same length and intensity. We see the inhalation as what we receive energetically from life, and the exhalation as what we contribute, what we express, what we give to life. And there must be a balance here, and by breathing in a balanced fashion, we balance ourselves energetically, which is very, very powerful. Now remember, we see the heart as the center. This is heart rhythm meditation. We are meditating on our hearts. Our hearts are the master chakra. They are the chakra which holds all the others. And so when we tune into the sexual chakra, we see it as a part of your heart. We want to connect the energy of abundance, of pleasure, of creation to our hearts. We don't want to be disconnected. We want to be whole beings. We want to experience unity within ourselves and with all of life. So naturally, we want our breath to be heart-centered as well. We do this in several ways. We do this by concentrating on our hearts, right in the center of the chest. We often think that the heart is on the left. The heart is in the center of the chest. However, the blood comes to kind of a point and turns around, and that happens on the left. So it's often easier to feel the heartbeat on the left side because of that. The heart itself is centrally located, and so is the energy of the heart. We can make the breath both rhythmic and heart-centered at the same time by tuning into the heartbeat and breathing in the same number of beats as we breathe out. This requires that you feel your heartbeat, so that can take time to tune into it. Some people can feel it right away, some can't. You work at it, and you tune into it, you open yourself to that sensation, and over time you will feel it. So if you're feeling it now, that's good. Then you breathe the same number of beats on the inhalation as the exhalation. If you work on this practice, I would like you to get to 8 beats in and 8 beats out. But if you're new to this, if you're practicing this, you just do what is right for you. Like I said, any part of this that you can do is a win. I know I'm asking a lot from you, and you're doing great. The final step is to make the breath full, and that means to really engage your abdominal muscles, squeeze out all of the breath on the exhalation. Control the inhalation, don't let it rush back in, try to keep it smooth. Expand the lungs, expand the chest. Feel that your breathing takes place in an area all the way from your pelvis to your collarbones. Breathing deep into the belly and then expanding the breath all the way up into the chest as well. To get that full breath that gives your breath power. I'm going to use that power to explore and develop ourselves. So now focus on the inhalation, and as you breathe in through your sexual center. That is located right where you think it is, the genitals. Breathe in and feel that this is an aspect of your heart. And as you breathe in through this area and connect it to your heart, breathe up to your heart. Consider all of the things that give you pleasure, that give you joy. You might be thinking of sex, but let's not limit it to that alone. Right? There are many pleasurable, joyful, wonderful experiences in life. Try to feel it in a sensory fashion. Try to think of the things that give you that, the pleasure of your senses. It could be hearing beautiful music. It could be seeing the beautiful colors. It could be being touched. Whatever it is, feel that enjoyment. Feel how it touches your heart. Life can be hard. Life gives us pain. Life gives us wounds. But life also gives us joy. Life also gives us pleasure. And let's be open to that. Let's notice that. Let's feel that. Let's appreciate that. And let's connect it to the very depth of our hearts. Let's open ourselves with gratitude to the pleasure that life gives us, seeing it as a gift from the one being. And if you have a thought that maybe you don't deserve it, maybe you're not worthy of it, you can let that thought be there and let it pass on, because pleasure and joy does not need a reason. It's not something that you earn. You're not working for a wage here. This is something that simply is. We can be open to it, we can savor it, or we can take it for granted. We're going to experience a lot more richness. We're going to experience a lot more life if we open ourselves to that pleasure with a sense of gratitude. Now let's shift to the exhalation. So this means we're focusing on the exhalation as a flow of energy comes out of the sexual center. It flows from there. Okay, so we're breathing in to the center of our chest, to our heart, and then breathing out in a flow that goes from this second chakra. And now we're tuning into something different. We're tuning into the incredible creative energy of the sexual chakra. It is a center of abundance, of flow, of it's also a center of our expression in the sense of our voice even. So there's a connection between the sexual chakra and the throat chakra, for example, which is why when we're wounded here, it often takes away our voice. It takes away our expression. We want to become small. We want to become invisible. We don't want to be seen. We don't want to be heard. But life has such a creative urge, and that flows through us. We long to sing our song. We long to give our gifts to the world in whatever form that is, right? We're not just limiting ourselves to one thing now, right? We're talking about all the ways that we create, all of the ways we express ourselves, all of the ways that we give. know there's often pain here because we've often been shamed or mocked or limited for our expressions, for our gifts, or maybe we just have a fear that we will be. But here we are in a place of pure energy, pure breath. We can experience all of this without creating anything outwardly. So no one is going to judge you here. No one is going to mock you here. You can experience that abundant creative flow in its very pure energetic form now. Giving and receiving, that is the breath. Now tune into the breath in its infinite dimension. Consider that everything that gives you joy is giving the universe joy, because you are part of the universe. The universe experiences life through you. We are not separate, we're one being. Feel that flow that you receive, that energetic flow that you receive, that joy is limitless, eternal, perfect. And when you breathe out and send your energy, your spirit, your essence, your gift to the universe, feel too that flow is endless, eternal, perfect, unlimited. For that is the true nature of your being. Take a few final breaths and bring this experience to a close. May the blessings of God rest upon you.
Thank you, Asatar.
Well, we've
That
gone a
was
little bit
lovely.
over time here. Thank you to all of you who stuck
How
around.
unruly of us.
we, we,
No.
we got carried away. See, that's also the energy of the second chakra. So, we teach you in many different ways, don't we?
Oh. But yeah, so whatever your wishes are right now for yourself to create in yourself or create in your life, we're really wishing you so much abundance and opening up to the abundance that is available to you. And hopefully, including me and Asatar, we can be a little bit playful along the way. Have some fun out there, everybody. Go get them.
Thank you all for being with us, and we'll see you next week. We'll be talking about willpower and mastery and the development of the third chakra, the solar plexus. So, see you then.
See you then. Go have fun.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.